What is up, everybody? Welcome to some more TNT Champions 2021 coverage. I am Delthius. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? I am swell. It's a word I don't use very often, but there it is. I just wanted to come say hi. I know I haven't streamed in a minute. It's been hard, man. Like, everybody's so quick on these replays. It's such a good problem to have. There's not a game this tournament that will go uncasted. And for some of you who maybe just mostly follow my channel and haven't really kept a close eye on Tooth and Tail lately, definitely check out a lot of the other streamers. I have links to them under the Tooth and Tail events section. You got Tosh, Tiki Gray, Kipo, Tander Draco, Trumpet. So yeah, I mean, a ton of coverage has been happening of this event. Don't be fooled if you're just kind of watching my channel. You see this is like number 3, or maybe you're watching it on YouTube or something. We've had a ton of these matches, and I actually wanted to talk a little bit about the results, because this is it. This is the last game of the Swiss placement rounds. The results have been tallied up. We're into the group stage now, split in between Premier and Intermediate. I made it! But the skin of my teeth, that was close. I didn't have the best Swiss rounds, but you know what? I played good games. I did my best, and I made it into Intermediate, so I'm happy about that. And yeah, we'll cover some of the results. I did want to talk about that a little bit after this match. I didn't want to kind of spoil anything by showing that. So yeah. I guess without further ado, let's just hop right into it. This is going to be a good series here. I'm looking forward to it. Fleur de Lis versus Night Slayer. Let's hop into it. Alright, spawning on the left-hand side, we've got Night Slayer with the Chad meta deck, and over on the right, we've got Fleur de Lis. And speaking of this meta deck, Kipo has made an announcement that anyone in Premier League that can win the tournament without ever playing basically the deck that Night Slayer is playing right now, you become the hero of Tooth and Tail. You get a special tag he worked out with Master Stealth in the Tooth and Tail Discord, Pocketwatch Discord, I should say, where you are a hero. And the reason for that is very straightforward. Anyone who's been keeping up with the meta, I mean, this is a tough deck to deal with in the late game. That Wolf Owl Snake combo really is kind of reigning supreme. So the story of this tournament, to me, is kind of... By the way, did Fleur de Lis not scout this? Ooh, this is not good. 4-farm double by Night Slayer on the way. Fleur de Lis does not know it's coming. So let's hold that thought for a second. Sniff something out, I guess. Maybe the scout pattern threw him off. But yeah, he actually never went in for a follow-up scout, but could kind of sense that this was coming. It's still going to be successful for Night Slayer, though, because his response was a bit slow. Fleur's response, that is. One pick goes down, which is kind of what you expect. Fleur de Lis would really like to keep this second one alive, though, and he does. That is very good. That kind of evens things out a bit there for Fleur. But yeah, and going back to this composition that Night Slayer's running, it's kind of determined at the moment in the Tooth and Tail meta. Like, this is pretty much the strongest deck you can play, with like an asterisk next to it. You know, it's the strongest late game deck you can play, and in a little bit of a challenge. The gauntlet has been thrown down to see who can crack the code. And especially if you're in Premier League, it's kind of interesting right now, because this is the deck that has the target on its back. You know, it's either, okay, do I run Wolf Snake Owl, or do I try to find a way to beat it? And beating it's not impossible. I think it could be susceptible to some early to mid game play. You know, maybe something crazy like a Badger Boar, Badger Wolf with pigeons. I don't know, but we'll see if anybody is up to the challenge. And honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe somebody like Mishi or Swifty is just gonna, like, do that anyways and not even realize it, because they're old school players who did quite well and who did advance into Premier. You know what I mean? Like, Mishi just runs these kind of crazy decks with, like, ferrets and foxes and artillery cannons and stuff, so It's like Kipo's putting the the medal over his neck, and he's like, "Thanks. What is this for?" Oh, I did make a mistake. My bad. That was my fix, Fleur. I made a mistake the first time, and that's what I fixed it to. So that's even worse. Like, I did QC my work, and I still missed it. Thank you for letting me know. Alright, Fleur getting a little froggy here. Throwing down some moles. Let's see if this will work. Night Slayer knows about it. So he can kind of hunker down. He does have Squizzard, which is nice on defense. Alright, the moles are coming in. These moles do so much damage to the Gristmill. I'm curious, yeah, Fleur's just going to target that down immediately, but will he do well enough in this fight? And it looks like, yeah, actually, he didn't even need to pull back. I'm kind of with Fleur, though. Like, my gut reaction after that happened would be like, alright, mission accomplished, let's get the hell out of there. But I think Fleur could have stood his ground and kept fighting there. So the trade wasn't horrible for Fleur. Also gets that mill, but keep in mind, Fleur's second base is just now getting established. A lot of times in Tooth and Tail, you know, when we're a couple minutes down the road, losing that second base is pretty much game. You know, because you've invested so much money into it, that's your main source of income. So that's just GG. But since Night Slayer had only had a couple farms there, and if I was looking closer, I probably could have seen if he sold. I think he might have sold a farm as it was in production. Fleur just going for it, though. Lots of lizards here. This is a good angle for Night Slayer. Having squirrels on defense like this is nice, and plus the Gristmill is going to kind of screw with the AI. The lizards are going to waste some time and damage hitting that mill instead of hitting other valuable units. But Night Slayer is by no means out of this. We'll have to see how this next attack goes. Fleur is powering up at home. He's got a decent economy behind this. He's going to jump right in, and yeah, this is just too many lizards. Good angle from Fleur, too. I think Night Slayer might have had his lizards a bit too far forward and wasn't able to quite utilize that Gristmill tanking. You know, since the lizards just kind of came in and basically engaged the lizards of the opponent, and then once you knock those out, like, yeah, the squirrels are still there, but there's so many lizards left for Fleur. So nicely done. 1 point on the board for Fleur. And I was getting worried because if you remember in that early game, I mean, it was a 4-farm double that wasn't scouted. But Fleur knew his we say star sense in StarCraft. What would be the the tooth and tail equivalent? Your tail sense? I don't know. All right, here we go. Game number 2. But yeah, I do want to talk a bit about the results of the Swiss placement matches after this, but I figured knock these games out first. That way there's no spoilies or anything. In the top right, fresh off of victory on map 1, we got Fleur-de-Lis, and over in the bottom left, still with that meta deck, we've got Night Slayer. And again, you know, we do talk a lot about this composition from Night Slayer here, but that game from Fleur, you know, the snakes, the owls, the wolf is irrelevant. So the challenge, the hero challenge, the Warrior of Light challenge for Tooth and Tail Premier players right now might be a little more achievable than it seems. Another 4-farm double coming out of Night Slayer here. The map is sufficiently short enough, so might as well give it a try. Fleur's going to defend with some squirrels, though. They should be here in time. I'm a bit worried about this corner pig. The problem with the corner pig is one lizard can take it out because it doesn't have any other pigs helping shoot that Lizboy down. But these squirrels should come out in time. Ooh, he's got 2 lizards here. Night Slayer hesitates and decides to go home. So Fleur's going to come out of this. Oh, maybe he's faking it. He's a big fat faker. Oh, but look how smart Fleur is. He moved his squirrels over there. Still gets a pig, but tip of the hat to Fleur. Like, I don't know if y'all saw that, but he had his squirrels right here after, like, Night Slayer kind of convinced me. You know, if I was Fleur, I'd be like, okay, he's not committing. So Night Slayer does get that pig. And Night Slayer getting the pig kind of evens things out with this build because Night Slayer's own additional pigs were so delayed. Oh, this one could be brutal, though. Fleur needs to be careful. He knows Night Slayer's trying to be aggressive with these lizards. Getting the war in there. Very nice pickup. I think Fleur got the better end of that trade, like 2 lizards for a squirrel or something like that. But getting the Warren always feels good, man. especially if you want to keep the tempo going, want to just slam down some more Warrens, but I don't think we're going to see that. We're going to kind of balance out into a nice early to mid game here. I think Night Slayer did get the damage he was looking for after that last dive in and taking out that Warren. Okay, so Night Slayer looking to expand from here. Gonna throw down some more Warrens. Everything is hunky-dory. Meanwhile, on Floor's side of the map, probably about to do the exact same thing. This is pretty typical of this phase of the game. Yeah, and I think overall, everything kind of balanced out, right? Like, if you look at the food, yeah, it seems about even. Maybe you could really cut this and say one player has got a slight food advantage over the other, but overall, we're in pretty similar spots here. If anything, maybe Night Slayer's got a slight lead, but not enough to write home about. Floor does need to, yeah, queue up some farms. Hasn't scouted. Actually, no, Floor did. Floor's playing very well. Night Slayer in my favorite Tooth and Tail game against Big Pimpatosh. Definitely check that out on my YouTube if you haven't. It's my clickbaity title. It's so funny. I was getting like comments and stuff when I did that. They're like, "Don't, sir." It was a joke. You know, I wasn't being serious. Ooh, these squirrels actually getting a really nice engagement on those lizards there. Night Slayer forced to cut back for now. This could be pretty deadly from Floor here. Lizards versus squirrels is pretty interesting because it's like the lizards either dominate or you have just enough squirrels, like we saw in this first spot where, you know, you deal so much upfront damage. And yeah, Floor getting a little bit too big for his britches there. Gonna run home. Night Slayer will grab a pig. This puts Night Slayer in a nice spot. Snakes here for Night Slayer, cams for Floor. I think this is fine. I don't think cams do as bad against snakes as people think. I mean, intuitively you would think so, right? Because the snakes can poison the cams and then they can't, like, sneak away with their stealth. But if you just kind of YOLO your cams in there, I mean, even with poison stacks, they'll still take a ton of damage. They'll still deal a ton of damage, and they can be pretty good to punch through. But I think the problem here is that Floor is just on pure lizard, and that honestly just does not cut it most of the time in this meta. If you're gonna run, I'm sorry, he's on pure squirrel. I think I said pure lizard. My apologies. Trying to come in, and yeah, like this is where the cams are bad against the snake, right? Like you can't really retreat, and that's what's really fun. That's why I enjoy playing cams, because it's fun to kind of engage and then try to get your cams out like right before they die. You can't really do that against snakes, but you can still just kind of have them, you know, ram the front and get a lot of value on the battlefield before dying. So, Floor, I like this a lot from Floor, just powering up on the farms. You know, he's a bit behind, so you gotta try to do something. And, you know, if Night Slayer doesn't attack right here, right now, then this economic advantage, this little boon that Floor got here, could help him get back into this. And Night Slayer's not. Night Slayer trying to do some fancy pants harassment here. No lizards from Floor's side to really punish this. Yeah, he's actually just going to leave the snakes. And then maybe, like, rally his whole army over here, which will rally the snakes to kind of come over and start poisoning down those Warrens. Yeah, Night Slayer not only has Squizzard, but also has more Tier 1. But the snakes aren't actually here to help. And, oh, this is not good. These snakes can get caught by Floor's army and targeted down if he's being careful. But no, Floor has not targeted the snakes down. Instead, he's really utilizing these cams out in the front with no snake poison on him to do a ton of damage to the Tier 1. And surprisingly, those snakes get out of there, but so do the cams. What just happened? I mean, that was good for Floor. Maybe that was the correct response. But if I was in Floor's shoes, I would have just immediately went for those snakes. But hey, maybe that would have been wrong. You know, if you look at the army graph, that was good for Floor. And now Floor is following up, which is not good for Night Slayer. He's trying to get into that supreme late game with the Wolf Owl, but Floor's not going to have it. Floor's moving in, and the snakes were actually sold off, so Night Slayer is only trying to defend this with pure Squizzard and just the overwhelming numbers of squirrels here by Floor. Night Slayer deciding to, this happens to me so much. Like, I lose so many games like this that I kind of stopped even trying to do it. You know, that happens to me every time. Like, just like that, man. Like, right when you throw down those tier 3 Warrens, the enemy just moves out. And Fleur just knew it, too. Like, he didn't scout it. He just knew. It really goes to show you how different the two players viewed that position in the game, where Night Slayer is thinking to himself, like, okay, you know, the mid-game's kind of over, we're going to transition to late game, I'll get out my tier 3, I'll get a third base, and Floor is like, I am just going to keep slamming down, pedal to the metal, throwing squirrels at you until you die. Okay, let's see if Night Slayer is able to bring it back in game number 3 here, or are we going to have just a 3-0 sweep from the Frenchman in the bottom left, Fleur de Lis, and over in the top right, Night Slayer. Not sure what Night Slayer's nationality is. Seems American. I don't know. I don't know why. Is 907 an area code? It seems like it could be an area code. I know 904, because that's Jacksonville, Florida, where I'm from. But I no longer live. I live in Minnesota now. Alright, if I'm Floor, I am being super sus of Night Slayer right now. He's 4-farm W 2 games in a row. And not gonna happen this time. Well, Night Slayer does the 6-farm Warren. Just a squirrel, though, and I think that was in response to seeing the Warren from Floor, so a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of mind games here in the very early stages, kind of battling, I guess, for a small advantage of being the first player to get up to 8 farms. Night Slayer very smartly sells off that Warren and gets his own 8 farms up and running. And let's see what's going to happen next. Floor throwing down 8-farm double. Seems reasonable. Night Slayer just chilling. Digging that hole for quite some time. Ooh. Interesting sell. I actually like that because he stopped the unit production, because he's thinking, okay, I don't really need the units right now. I'd rather just have the Warrens. And that allowed him to sneak out that extra Warren a little bit quicker. That's actually very smart. We don't often see players do that. No expansion yet from Floor. And still no lizards either. Night Slayer did throw down a mill. Night Slayer, by the way, playing the same deck every round. Floor kind of changing it up slightly, but mostly staying on this like squirrel tier 2 style. Although in the first game he did win with lizards. Oh, okay. We saw Mishi do this. I believe against Tiki Gray, where you do this squirrel push with mines. Not sure if Night Slayer saw the mines, though. Because Night Slayer's got all these lizards, it probably feels pretty good about coming out. Really big minefield here. This is a little bit all in from Floor. Needs to bring him back just a bit, but you also, it kind of stinks because you hate retreating in Tooth and Tail. You take so much damage, so he is able to crack all those mines there, get some decent damage out of those, but not the game-ending back-breaking push Floor was probably looking for. So gonna go ahead and get that expansion up and running. Night Slayer probably feeling pretty good about himself after that last engagement. If you look at the graph, I mean, it was very cost-effective for Night Slayer. Night Slayer's got the second base on the way. Or established, rather. Got a farm on it, too. And Night Slayer's general strategy piloting this deck is to just kind of hold on. Like, keep calm and carry on, you know? And get to that tier 3. Get to a big economy where you can throw down the double tier 3 and get that up and running. Typically, that's probably around when you have like 2 base full saturation and you still got the first base running, so you know you're up to like 13, 14 farms. That's where you can kind of afford to like throw down 360 food and still, like with defender's advantage, have a chance of like holding. A lot of players tend to utilize MGs to kind of help get him there. Good engagement here from Night Slayer, though. Gonna clean this up from Floor. Now, back at home, Floor is almost on full 2 base saturation. Lots of tier 1 Warrens. Does have the mines, so I think he'll probably be okay from this counterattack. He also built all his pigs here in the back. Maybe Night Slayer will kill a pig or two, but Floor should be able to defend this with all the reinforcements. Yeah, one pig goes down. Not the end of the world. Floor's still on a better economy, and just really going crazy with the squirrels here. Yeah, the high ground outside the natural is so rough. I've lost so many games because of situations like this. Good find here from Night Slayer. Gonna sneak in and get a lot of bacon. 3 pigs gonna go down. We'll be able to get out with a few of those lizards. Brought the squirrels anyways, but not gonna use them. And this can be so deadly. Like, when you get to a critical mass of squirrels, like, do not underestimate it. Night Slayer, throughout all of this, has kind of realized, hey, he's doing nothing but building squirrels at the moment. Might as well throw down some skunks. Fleur going a bit crazy with these mines. But I'm not much of a mine player, to be honest, so I can't really comment too much. Seems okay. It's nice to get that little bit of an alert, you know? Like, even if a mine was out here, like, just knowing that these units are coming this way can be so huge. Like, Fleur is nice and neat, and he's got these 3 bases you can't really complain about. Even just checked on if Night Slayer had taken a third of his own yet, has not. Night Slayer looking to throw down this owl. Nope, gonna take his time. Just gonna do 1 tier 3 at a time. It's a bit safer this way. But still trying to transition to that late game. Getting out to tier 2, getting out to tier 3. Probably wants to take a 3rd base soon, but at the same time it's kind of rough. There's the owl, yeah. Because you don't want to be too spread out when you're also being pretty greedy with your unit comp. Alright, Fleur's moving in. Again, another good, just kind of star sense timing here. Hasn't actually scouted the tier 3, but he's just kind of thought to himself, you know what, he's being really quiet over there. Maybe I should put on some pressure. Maybe he's trying to owl wolf me. Still, okay, did see a tier 3. Saw the owl warren, so Fleur could probably infer what's going on after seeing that owl. Most of the time in the modern meta, that owl does come stapled to the wolf. Night Slayer's bottom, so maybe we won't have a clean 3-0 sweep here. Maybe we'll get some other games. Yep, and again, these mines actually killing it right there. Kill 3 lizards, so trade pound for pound, and then prevent Night Slayer from being able to come in and harass. I mean, not really anything to be gained there anyways, but still feels pretty good. So, this is not good for Floor. I think Floor has kind of rested a bit too long here. His deck is a very mid-game heavy deck, and he's given Night Slayer a lot of breathing room to just kind of chill out and get to the comp he wants. And now Night Slayer's got that comp, got the dreaded Wolf Owl Snake comp. And let's see if Fleur can do anything about this. I think maybe a base race would be a better option, but that probably wouldn't work anyways. I mean, Night Slayer's got the faster units. He's already at your doorstep. There's no kind of extra gristmill to take to try to stay alive. So Fleur's going to go for it here. Going to need to get some good tags. And Night Slayer's actually backing out for the moment. Maybe a bit concerned about all the Falcons. Maybe not wanting to overstay his welcome. Fleur did fully saturate this 3rd base. So is Fleur gonna do it? So many Falcons here. You got the cams up front. You got the snakes to focus fire down with, although I'm not sure which group Fleur would really be paying more attention to. Oh, Night Slayer's gonna take advantage of this retreat though, where a few of the army pieces are not quite clumped up. And Fleur's slamming in here, really trying to get that target firing down. Night Slayer will escape, keeping together all the crucial pieces of the puzzle here. Another owl on the way. Fleur's economy is damn good, though. Totally out of tier 1, makes sense. The tier 1 are cannon fodder compared to those mice. The mice are just super jacked up versions of tier 1 units, essentially, and you get them for free. So you don't really want to be trading with them. I do like the decision to go up more on cams. But the problem is, without really focused fire by these falcons. They could lose a lot of damage just shooting those mice, but again, Night Slayer really respecting the amount of falcons coming out from Fleur here. And these engagements haven't been horrible. Like, it's hard. If you look at the army value graph, I mean, you can see Night Slayer is trading efficiently, which is why this comp is so good, but hasn't been able to kill enough of the critical units out of Fleur to checkmate him. And Fleur, with the better economy, has been able to repower up to get back to these units. But does Fleur need to make a move here? Because eventually this economic advantage is going to go away. Night Slayer is slowly catching up on that third base. Yeah, Fleur looking for a fight. Got the cams out front. Let's see how he target fires down. Probably wants to target fire with the snakes. Yeah, got a snake stack on the wolf. It looks like he was targeting with the falcons as well. The wolf goes down. All these falcons in the air are doing a ton of damage. These pigeons really helping to keep him alive. Night Slayer running out of units that can shoot up. Just a handful of squirrels and lizards left. And has Fleur de Lis cracked the code with Pigeon Falcon here with a lot of tier 2. Or is this too much tier 1 now from Night Slayer? Yeah, these falcons are starting to fall. I think Fleur goofed a little bit there on his unit control. I think he needed to bring his units all the way back up to the high ground. Make Night Slayer kind of work for it. Okay, these cams getting in there, getting some work done. But Fleur's army is just so hard to replicate. You know, these tier 2 units take a very long time to build. They're expensive. Fleur's still on the better economy, though. Gonna go down to 4 cams, 8 falcons, and 3 pigeons. Might want to hang out for a little bit, let these units charge up, and then push again. Meanwhile, Night Slayer getting rid of the lizards. Lizards versus cams, the small numbers typically aren't that great for the lizard player. But let's see if Fleur can do it. Powerful looking army here. Decided out of the snakes. Just hoping to have these cams in front, but the cam's not quite in the right position. These falcons are such an interesting unit in the game, and they have been for a long time. Not as popular nowadays, but they just do such incredible damage, but they're very glass cannon-y. You know, they need that ground support. They also scale better than any other unit in the game. You know, you get like 30 falcons together or something. There's literally nothing that can be done about that. Oh, Fleur really wanted to kill that extra wolf, but it is going to get away. And Night Slayer is going to get down into the soft underbelly of Fleur's base. Fleur deciding if he wants to try to base race or if he wants to try to go home and defend. Gonna come defend. Let's see if he can make it in time. All these mice trying to find their way up here. Getting mowed down, though, but so many mice coming in from the south. Oh, it's so close! Alright, Fleur gonna hang on, but now Night Slayer's got the better economy. And I think there is some merit in this like tier 2 heavy style to deal with Wolf Owl, but in a way you kind of got to have the better economy, I guess. You know, like, again, these are really expensive units. This is Fleur's last-ditch effort. You know, now Night Slayer's ahead on economy. Now he can afford to start putting in all the tier 1 that he needs to really combat this. We're going to try to come in again, but really needs to not... The problem is, target firing squirrels with falcons, like, you're wasting so much DPS because you're overkilling the squirrels, whereas if you don't target fire, then the falcons are shooting the mice. So that's kind of a rough situation either game. Either way, close match, but Night Slayer puts a point on the board. Makes it a proper series here. So, nice one from Night Slayer. We got some more matches. That's the important thing. Let's move on to game number 4. Spawning in the top, we've got Fleur de Lis with Fox Balloon. Pretty cool. Over the right-hand side, Night Slayer. Hey, and I don't blame Night Slayer, you know? Why not take the best deck to a very important tournament and try your best? And I feel like a broken record because I say this all the time, but there really is like two kind of schools of thought in competitive Tooth and Tail. You know, do I really practice with this one deck, and do I run that every game? And it's like, I don't even care. You got to be careful with what deck you do that with. 4-farm double, by the way, from Night Slayer. 5-farm Warren from Floor, trying to basically preempt that, and I think it's smart. I mean, the rush distance is short enough where he could try it, and he has tried it several times, so might as well do the 5-farm Warren. Back in my day, Boomer Delthius used to always build a 5-farm Warren. Like, going 8 farms was considered greedy and risky because of the way that moles functioned in early Tooth and Tail. But anyways, yeah, the two schools of thought of like changing it up every game versus keeping that one deck and really piloting it to victory. Ooh, got a pig. All right. That really shouldn't have happened with these builds. Floor a bit out of position there with his units. And I think this is fine from Night Slayer to try to do this style where you hone in on one deck, especially if you don't have a ton of time to play. You know, it's like, let me get on the ladder. Oh no, Night Slayer! Alright, this is getting to be... Oof. Alright. Never say never in Tooth and Tail, but... Floor is in check. You know, it's not quite checkmate, but this is check. For sure. Night Slayer is pretty far ahead now, after grabbing those additional pigs. But you gotta be careful with what deck you are, if you are gonna be a one-trick pony, and the Wolf Owl Snake deck, it's considered to be one of the best right now, so it makes sense that this is the one that you do it with. Because typically on paper, the reason you don't want to play the same deck every game, like if I'm going Fox every game in a series, you can say, well, I know Delthius is going to play Fox, so I'm going to get some defenses or some mines or whatever to deal with the Fox, but the comp that Night Slayer has, you know, there really isn't a hard counter to it. And that's what makes it so good. It's not unbeatable, you know, but it's very strong in different portions of the game. I think one weakness of the deck is you don't have cams. And cams can be very powerful in the mid-game. As we saw in, I believe, the first match where Floor... First or second match? No, it was the second match, where Floor utilized some cams very effectively to win. The Fox balloon is really cool. I love the Fox, and the Fox actually did shine a couple patches ago. I think players were figuring it out. When the meta was super tier 2 heavy, and in general when the meta is super tier 2 heavy, Fox does quite well. Because the Fox is very powerful against all the tier 2s, really. Snake can be a bit rough, you gotta be careful against snakes, but Fox still outranges a snake. But if a snake does end up hitting your Fox, it's pretty much a dead Fox. But yeah, so I think the Fox is great in metas that are very tier 2 heavy. Oh man, is Floor gonna go for it? Fox is also nice sometimes if you can sneak it out. Like if Floor built one over here, you know, and Night Slayer just wasn't ready for it. But the problem is if Floor just kind of builds a Fox Warren, Night Slayer's coming in with a huge attack, and Floor is not ready for this. Floor trying to get into some skunks and just doesn't have enough tier 1. Night Slayer being the bruiser that match. Coming in with a ton of tier 1, keeping the aggression on all game long. And again, keep in mind that Night Slayer did kind of do critical damage there in the early game. Killed maybe one too many pigs. So ties it up, so hype. We've got Game 5 for the last 2021 TNT Champions Swiss match. And then we will talk a little bit about the tournament results so far, and then yeah, I'll cast a few replays. Alright, let's see what happens in game number 5. Spawning in the top right, we've got Floor with a crazy deck. Okay, what is this? These guys are memeing. Over on the left-hand side, we got Night Slayer. Alright, these guys are like just having a good time. I love to see it. I love to see, you know, even though this is like a try-hard tournament, you know, these guys are still willing to be buds and just hang out and have fun. They're probably like in voice, you know, playing these matches, just being super casual. Look at these decks! Oh my god. I'm so hyped for this match. The problem is, once the balloon gets out, Like, what are you gonna do? Like, toads can't throw their dynamite at the balloons. Ferrets should be able to hit balloons. Come on, eel. Let ferrets hit air units. Maybe that'll make them good again. This is hilarious. Yeah, I guess these guys just kind of said to each other, like, you know what, man? GG. Like, whoever wins, wins. Let's just have fun for this last show, last game, and put on a good show for the Twitch stream. If you are kind of new to Tooth and Tail, or don't watch too often, these are totally meme decks. This is not anywhere remotely resembling any sort of meta. These guys are literally just having fun. But my only problem with this, I love this, is just the balloon. Like, what? There's nothing against balloons. Once you get a balloon, that's it. I'm so confused. Like, instead of pigeon, maybe do like you can, I was gonna say falcon, but you can't do falcon in nonsense like this, because then all that ends up happening is you build falcons because they're good. We've seen that before in one of the gentlemen's crazy tournaments. The toad mole is kind of fun. Both of them really just crit the hell out of structures. But yeah, like, you can't let that balloon get up. Iceler's like, no, you're not gonna get my balloon. All right, here we go. The first battle. Just whacking away. Alright, Night Slayer gonna back it up. Floor will be able to clean up this mill. Wants to be careful to not let any toads blow up on it, though, before he gets that dealt with. I mean, I guess the map is pretty open, though, so even if you try to be a bastard and build a balloon, then it can, you can just walk around it. The reason I keep talking about the balloon again, if you're not super well versed in Tooth and Tail, is it's an air unit. None of these units can hit air. Night Slayer found an opening, though, getting a lot of good pig connections here. Gets that third one. Feels good. Loses a ton of units to do it, though, so let's see if Floor wants to counterattack. Try to repay the favor. Lots of toads, though. The toads actually probably do great against moles. I say probably because we just don't see this kind of thing. Oh, that got taken out by a diligent mole over there. Yeah, Floor is not wanting these toads to connect. I'd imagine these toads will just delete the moles. Floor building up some toads of his own. Yeah, let the mole throw the hammer at the balloon. Yeah, or let the ferret shoot the balloon, right? It's got a big old cannonball. It can get there. Who's gonna be the man that builds the arty right here? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, chat? The big play. No, you just gotta stand right here until you have enough money for it. Floor, stand right there. No. Night Slayer, no. Quit chasing Floor around. Ooh, sells a pig. Knows the attack's coming in, trying to get some more moles. This seems like a replay that I would get submitted, not a tournament match. Oh, these toads! Damn. I mean, how many toads was that? That was 6 toads. Killed like 7 moles. Yeah, not bad. Moles just clump up so well. Is this game just gonna... Like, I'm starting to think about this. Is this just gonna be back and forth? Like... Is this gonna be a 20-minute match? How is this gonna get resolved? You know what I mean? Maybe asking for an artillery was too much. Maybe we just gotta pray for a ferret. A ferret could be a good way to resolve this. Alright, some toad micro up front. Let's see it. Who's gonna get the good connection? Or they're just gonna go? The bloodshed. Somehow Night Slayer came out way on top there. Oh, he had more toads. That's probably why. That looked good for Fleur. There's the balloon, okay. The non-interactable balloon. Fleur cannot let that balloon get up, or else it is there for the rest of the game. And there it is. Balloon taken to the skies. There's the Artie. Night Slayer's going for the checkmate here. Oh, Fleur's gonna try. Look at all these units, though. Night Slayer will clean it up. So many pigeons in the air. Just go. Well, there's so much tier 1. They rebuild quite quickly. The ferrets here. On the way. Third bases are starting to get thought about. That attack, look how good that went for Night Slayer, man. Jeez, Manelli. Night Slayer just gonna grab these gristmills. I love it. He's not really gonna do anything with these, but it's more of just like knowing that Floor doesn't have them is kind of worth the investment to Night Slayer, as it should be. I mean, he got the Artie balloon up. I mean, Fleur can like pray to get some good ferret shots off on that Artie, but with the balloon there. So the artillery was designed kind of like a siege tank in StarCraft. And Ferret works the same way, where they have more range than they do vision. But the balloon gives you so much vision. So now this artillery can be utilized to its fullest capacity. Yeah, doing these kind of Ferret dances against the artillery is not the hardest thing in the world. Night Slayer actually not moving his units around, so this Ferret is starting to chuck out some value. One hit there, gotta be careful. Oh my god. Alright, Floor's had enough of this. He's just gonna go for it. And somehow that engagement wasn't horrible for Floor. Oh, I think it's because Night Slayer has so many pigeons. The artillery stays up. Night Slayer moving in, but so many moles coming out. More and more balloons getting populated here in the south of the map. I guess Night Slayer is actually utilizing that real estate. Kind of just threatening. I can't really build any more pigs or my balloon will shoot it. Alright, let's see if Floor can pull a rabbit out of his hat here, because this is looking better and better for Night Slayer. Look. Good Floor, good shots here by Floor. But it's not going to be enough. And even just trying to like base trade, like knock these out with your mole, like the balloons, you're just going to kill a decent amount of them. I guess not a ton. Like, to be fair, if Floor did move his moles down here and knock these out, he wouldn't lose that many moles. But the bigger issue would be Night Slayer coming in. Floor being a sneaky sheepy here. This could work. This is a nice play. If Night Slayer just straight up loses that third base, Floor's got to find a way to rally these troops. Like, he's actually just going to move over here, so this will work. Oh, is he going to hard press it? But the problem is, these other bulls are going to rally too, and they're all going to die. Oh, man. Okay, gets the mill. Night Slayer moving in. These moles and toads are going to do so much work to all these warheads. Floor trying to bring his mole army back, but I think at this point, maybe he should have tried to just trade. I don't know. Night Slayer does have a ridiculous amount of mills on the map. And this should be it. Floor is out of gas, unfortunately. Does have a lot of money. Wait, what? Night Slayer taps out. Okay. Did Night Slayer just agree to give Floor the victory? I'm confused. There's a voice conversation that we missed there. Maybe Night Slayer was like, you got it, man. You know, let's just play this last game for fun. That's got to be it. So Floor actually wins. What a gentleman. Okay. All right. Yeah, okay. Floor in the chat saying Night Slayer basically conceded the match to Floor before that game was played, and they were just having fun. All right. So before we hop over to replays, and don't go anywhere, I am going to stop the stream and restart it just for editing purposes. So this is a separate VOD. But I do want to briefly talk about our results here from the Swiss rounds. Congratulations to Trumpet and Tatanka for going 5-0. Very impressive. Right behind him was Satoros, and followed by Leon. Leon played quite well. Melvin Fro, of course, up there pretty high. Kipo killing it. Floor at least 4-1. Really impressive. You know, Floor's gotten a lot better very recently, as we've just seen. Mishi, old school legend, as well as Swifty, keeping it real with a solid 3-2. And then we've got Ratan, also doing quite well. Look out for him this season. Night Slayer, of course. R22, Tiki, lots of 3-2s here. Logoman, Epikasi, Cactus. Meek actually going 2-3, a bit surprising, as he is, I believe he's our most recent champion. And we've got a handful of Draz, Bomb, Snake, Tandor, Protocam, Lupus, Pavlon. Now I'm just naming names. But look at that! Look at that, coming in hot! Delthius up on the scoreboard, 2-3. Big Pimpatosh and Rabin lead, ending it out. Okay, so let me try to remember. I had so the first game I played was against Green Biscuit, and I don't know if I don't know if it was ever figured out who Green Biscuit was, but I thought I was just gonna wreck Green Biscuit. Okay, I was like, some new player, you know. If I've never heard of them, they haven't been around. I mean, realistically, we're a pretty small scene. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, you know, easy 1-0. I'll take them out, no problem. We take those, you know. I'm not above beating up on a newbie in a tournament, you know. I take those wins. And then he slammed me, like it wasn't even close. He beat me 3-0, and then he kept like beating the crap out of everybody too. So it wasn't just me. At first I was like, damn, am I not as good? Like, I know I'm not a top player. I don't play that often, but I know what I'm doing, you know? I've been around the block. I've watched more Tooth and Tail than probably any other living human being. And, but yeah, I just got slammed, so that kind of hurt a little bit. I was like, man, did I just lose to, like, a newbie? Like, that hard? 0-3? But I think we all... He started beating up on other players. He was going like 3-0. He was really good, and then he dropped out. But anyways, yeah, so everybody was really suspicious of Green Biscuit. We were all pretty positive that was some smurf. Could be Amari, says Tatanka. That is very true. Could be a lot of people. Yeah. Amari's such a good player. She used to be a bit more involved with the scene. But yeah, it doesn't typically join events and stuff, unfortunately, but very, very strong. There definitely was a period of time where Amari was one of the best. And, okay. So then, who else? And then I went up against Lejaime. Don't know how to say that, which I won, you know. Lejaime played well, but I was able to beat him. And then I got railed by Satoros, which, you know, 4-1, so I don't feel too bad about that. And then I lost to Leon, who went 4-0, so I don't feel too bad about that. They dropped him. Got a draw. Maybe their opponent didn't show up that week or something. And then I beat Kalaru. So that's how I got to 2-3. That is, I'm like, yeah, let's talk about the tournament results, and then I just start talking about my own tournament journey. Okay, so then we got our premiere here. Now, these are GSL style brackets. This is just the way that challenge kind of set it up. So, GSL style is, well, I guess it kind of works like this. Yeah. I guess it's the same thing if you think about it. So, 2 1v1s. The winners fight each other. The winner of that moves on. The losers fight each other. Loser of that's eliminated. And then the loser, the winner, and the winner, loser fight each other to continue forth. So we got Group 1, Trumpet, Cactus, Swifty, Mishi is a power group. I think Trumpet, my money's on Trumpet and Mishi there, but you never know. Maybe Swifty can upset. Cactus is kind of a newer player. I think they came along in the Clan War, if I recall correctly, because I think they were looking for the tournament organizers. The Kipo, they kind of set up this system where, all right, everybody kind of pick your own. You know, we're out of the schoolyard, putting together our dodgeball teams. You know, so everybody can play with their friends and stuff. But then it's like, okay, the new players or people who can't really, you know, find a team, then we start distributing them to try to balance everything out. And I do remember Cactus was one of those new players that got distributed there. So Cactus doing quite well. Unless I'm mistaken, they have been playing longer, but I believe Cactus started around the Clan Wars. Next group, Melvin, R22, Leon, and Tiki. I think Tiki and Melvin are probably the favorites to get out of this, but I mean, Leon is looking real good. Wait, Leon was like 4-0. So you never know. I mean, Melvin and Tiki are kind of the established players, but hey, you know, maybe they're busy with school or work and they're not practicing that much, and Leon's playing 3 hours a day. You know what I'm saying? He can get in there. Satoros, Lego Man, Kipo, Night Slayer. Okay, this is probably the hardest group to call to me. I think it's probably Kipo. If I had to guess. Kipo and Satoros? Oh, it's so tough, though. Like, Lego Man and Night Slayer also really bring it. And yeah, I don't know, but Kipo's just so good. Like, big shout out to Kipo. Kipo's been killing it. Behind the scenes, organizing tournaments, on the front line, casting on Twitch. He's streaming all the time. He's a fantastic caster. And then he's also a very, very strong player. He's like the whole package. Tataka cast with Kipo a good bit as well. But yeah, Kipo's the whole package right now, in my opinion. Kipo's a top player, is an organizer, and also a streamer. So, really cool. And finally, Rattan, Floor, Tataka, and Epicosity. You know, Tataka is definitely the favorite of this group. And it's tough to say out of Rattan, Floor, and Epicosity. I mean, Epicosity is very strong as well. And also, again, really bringing it. Does cast from time to time. Big tournament organizer. Epicosity's been here since day one, if I recall. I think Epicosity's an OG. I remember Epicosity being around basically as long as I've been around, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he came in a bit later, but if he did come in later, it wasn't by a lot. It was like early 2018 or something. I feel like Epicosity's been here a little time. And I think Tatanka's probably the strongest out of the new guard. You know, you can't really call Tatanka a new player anymore, but newer player, but probably the best in Tooth and Tail at the moment. So Tatanka's kind of the guaranteed out in a way. And then between the other three, it's a tough one. I'd probably bet Epicosity, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Floor or Rattan pull it off either. So in the intermediate here, and again, just showing you know, you never know, man. Meek won last season and is now an intermediate, and it happens, you know. But top group, Meek, Rabid Lead, Paolon, and I think that's Goris, right? I would say Meek's probably the favorite. How did Paolon do? 2 and 3. 2 and 3. 2 and 3. Where's Raven Lead? Am I blind? I'm not seeing it. Maybe I'm blind. That could definitely be the case. It's tough. I feel like Meek, for sure. And maybe Rabin. Alright, Tandor, Exnor, Snake, and Kerpa. Ooh. I think Snake wins this group, to be honest. Yeah, I think Snake is the favorites. And then maybe Kerpa. Bomb, Delthius, Protocam, and Zen. Delthius wins twice. Easy. No contest there. Delthius wins so hard, he actually gets both slots moving forward. Maybe Kerpa Snake? Yeah, Ziggy shouting for Kerpa in the chat. Yeah, maybe, I mean, Kerpa is really good. Yeah, I think this probably goes to Kerpa Snake. I think Snake is going to win, though. I don't know, maybe Kerpa is better than Snake now. But Snake, again, also came in at the Tooth and Tail Clan Wars like Cactus and got very good very fast. But no, realistically, honestly, I'm really excited for my group. Bomb is a FXB player, if I recall correctly. Protocam's my boy. And Zen is a ton of fun. So I'm actually looking forward to my group a lot. I think this is going to be fun. I honestly think anybody can come out on top. I think this is pretty balanced. Then we got Lupus, Eel, Draz, and Tosh. I want Tosh to win. Draz, another FXB player. I mean, I love Eel. Eel is the developer kind of keeping things real, keeping it alive on Pocketwatch's side. But I think Eel is a bit stuck on the last patch, if I do say so myself. You know, he tries to do these mole skunk kind of games that aren't quite working now. So maybe if Eel, I mean, Eel's a great player. I think his understanding of the current meta is a bit off. So maybe if Eel kind of buckles down on that, you know, starts piloting some lizards, maybe we can see good games out of him. I think Tosh is going to come out on top, and I'm not sure how the other ones. But yeah, okay. So there's my little Delthius tournament take. You heard it here first.